Oh, hi, twofer. Now, uh, well, a few weeks ago, we actually I thought that we ended our Netflix series, but actually we didn't because I actually forgot that I have another Netflix figure anime figure. But since last week I was not able to post a video, I was actually out of the country. At that time, I visited Japan. Unfortunately, I don't have a haul. I wasn't able to get anything aside from colds. But for this twofer, we're gonna be having two figures in a video. So it's two for a twofer. And what figure is that? Well, they're also in Netflix, and it's actually Wild Tiger and Bunny. So Wild Tiger and Barnaby Brooks. We're gonna be doing two for the day. Now, this is actually a fig. This actually is the one we have in Netflix. The one that I see on Netflix is actually more of a movie. But then again, this is these are. It's in a world. It's set in a world where heroes are sponsored. So they have so it's basically like superheroes for hire. No, paid superheroes. So they would have a sponsor basically sponsoring them. Now, this is the second version of Tiger and Bunny. I actually have the first version as well. Now, what's the difference between this version and the first version? Well, first off, I would say that the first version actually looks more roboty, but there's one thing that's very different. The initial Tiger and Bunny figures were made with metal legs. Yes, metal legs, ladies and gentlemen. In the old iterations of SH Figure Art, especially for Kamen Rider, and even for the first level of Marvel figures, especially the Iron Man figures, the legs of the SH Figure Arts figures were metal. They had metal parts in it. Now, what's the bad thing about it? Well, first off, it can break the hips. Um, I've had a few figures broken already. Specifically my Gatak. I had Kamen Rider Gatak. He's part of the Kamen Rider Kabuto series. He's one of the secondary riders, and I love the figure. I actually love the figure because he's got swords on his shoulders. Since he had metal legs, it broke. My Iron Man Mark IV, one of the first Iron Man figures, SH Figure Wars did. This also had metal legs. Initially, they had those metal legs to make it more stable since they stand, right? But at the end, if you take it long, if you pose it long enough and keep moving it, it's gonna break. That hip's gonna break. And I've got two figures broken already. Now, I do have the initial figure ones. Um, okay, so for the few people watching, I'm actually thinking, should I bring it? But then again, it has more stuff. Remember, I'm all for value. It does have more stuff. And I also have the motorcycle. I do have the motorcycle. And yeah, you know what? Let's do it. Let's do it next week. But then again, we have this. This is the second version. Remember, this is the second version. It's a newer version. So we don't have the metal parts anymore. So it starts off with Wild Tiger, wherein he's an older superhero now. He's a bit washed up, and he was able to be paired up with Barnaby Brooks, who's a newer hero, who's very talented, and together they formed a good team. It's actually a good series, actually. The other characters I actually would like the other characters, but then again, the metal feet has really gotten me allergic to their older characters. But then again, the fact that I still have those two figures and still okay, I guess it's a testament to my toy keeping skills. But you do have to really be careful with it. So let's open them up. Let's start with the oldie first. Age before beauty. So now it's a newer style. It's still open, but it already has a newer style. Wherein first off you have the character, then product pictures, right? Product pictures, and now since they don't have the paper inserts anymore, instructions are now in the flaps. All right. So this is the figure without unopened. So what we have is the basic figure, an extra head, and 1, 2, 3, 5 pairs of hands. Okay, so remember, we move back. How do we talk about value? Well, value for me is anything over the hands, right? Anything over the hands and faceplates. Well, this doesn't have a faceplate, but it has a whole extra head. So in terms of value, it's pretty basic. Honestly, it's pretty basic. The original one, the first volume one, has an extra arm because his power is for the punching power. So it has a bigger arm which you can detach and attach also. So this doesn't have it. But what it has instead is the extra head. Now let's open them up. So if you're gonna be talking about value, so remember guys, I'll always talk about this. I'll always repeat it to the few viewers that I have. What is value? Anything beyond the hands and faceplates. So since this doesn't have a faceplate, technically value is very, very basic. So the figure. Now, what are the different? There's some differences in terms of the figure, but one thing is that it's not heavy because no metal feet. Second, articulations just fine as usual. Okay, paint job's pretty basic, but basic but sculpt. The sculpts, we can see the sculpt, right? So it's not that bad. Also, one thing that I have to say, there's actually a bit of snowing. There's actually a bit of snowing in the shoulder, due to age, and this figure isn't that old, you know. Also, the scaling of the figure is pretty different than the original ones. Honestly, if I use this and put them in the vehicle that we have for Tiger and Bunny, they're not really gonna fit. Unfortunately, it's not gonna fit. So the vehicle is really for the older figures. Now you can see the Lawson being sponsored by Lawson, and also some of their other sponsors for him. Pretty basic, and it look pretty basic, but I would say it's pretty cool. The feet, honestly, it's just pretty basic. For the hands, it's surprising because they don't usually do this anymore. And maybe I guess because of the package, but they don't usually do this anymore. So yeah, so it's actually, yeah, they don't really, doesn't really, it's a long time since they separate the packaging for the hands, but it's basically for the different posing hands. Now the extra head, unlike others wherein it's just the extra head, this is a whole neck. It includes the neck. So when you're gonna be detaching the figure, it's gonna be the whole neck that you're gonna be pulling out, which actually for me is fine because at least you can have the whole thing out and doesn't really have that much wear and tear. So the look of this is very different from the original one actually. This is more of like the Netflix one, and for the character they're using his mask head. So it does look different, but it does have the mask. Honestly, I would rather want that they have the old one, but then again, well, this is what we have. So yeah, it's pretty basic actually. But for his partner, so let's stand him here. Let's stand Wild Tiger here. Now we'll look at his partner, Barnaby Brooks. So again, it's there. The new thing is already in the flap. And this is the figure. So it's also pretty basic. But unlike Wild Tiger, Barnaby Brooks or Bunny has only 4 sets of extra hands and the extra head. Now, they look very similar now, not like before, but as you can see, there are some subtle differences. First off, the face. The legs are also pretty similar, like they're in wearing those 70s style pants. This has some additional articulation in the back. Though it's unfortunately the extra one was actually the feet. That it has a special kicking power. Unfortunately, it's been replaced with the extra head of pretty boy Barnaby. Look at him, handsome boy. And so we have this guy, and then you can see the different sponsors. Actually, he has a lot more sponsors because he's actually more famous than Wild Tiger. So he had Bandai, you have Battle Spirit, you have other sponsors in his forearms, and also sponsors in his shoulders. So you do have these guys. Now, in terms of the suit, very similar. Because this very similar, but there's only subtle differences. Basically, the sculpt body, which is the torso and the legs, pretty much the same. So, pretty well. That's also the reason why I decided to just review both of them as one, since they're so similar. They're so similar, and but you'd notice in the first series, but the first figure itself, they're a bit different. So even the feet's actually pretty similar. Yeah, the feet's even similar. See? So it's actually just the face, the shoulders, and yeah, parts of the suit. The suit's different, but they're so similar. And articulation wise, it's just the same. They do look a lot tighter than the old figures. But then again, if you want a figure to really display and pose up, this would be it. This would be better because first off, they don't have the metal legs. Second, they seem sturdier. They don't need metal legs to make them really sturdy. So they're like really they stand well. They stand very well. It's just that they look. Honestly, I still prefer the original. I still prefer the first versions. They still have it looks more cartoony to me. The first versions. Well, this looks more CG, more computer, more CG. But it's great figures. I saw them in net. I saw them in Netflix. So this is actually an addition to our Netflix series. I'm also gonna be bringing out my original versions of this, but you might notice for that video I'll be very very careful because I don't want their hips to snap, and their vehicle. I do have their vehicle too. So this is something that's actually pretty. It's the anime itself is fine. It's really good. It's just that the look in itself is pretty basic. But then again, it's a cool figure. If you're a fan of the series, get it. If you're afraid of your original or your series one or original versions breaking, I suggest get this to post. If you want to be posting them or having them displayed, I suggest get this and post this instead while you keep your older figures, either keep them in the box or keep them standing. I would suggest keep them in a box or keep them in a place where the hips doesn't break. So I'll show you that. I'll show you that next week what I'm talking about. But I just do hope it won't break. But then again, if you love Tiger and Bunny, and you want them to pose and you want them to display, get this. Also, they're actually pretty cheap. This might actually be one of the cheapest figures as a pair even, I've ever gotten. And for the price that I got them, for the price and for the figure, good price, good value already. But if you're looking for extra weapons, extra gimmicks, nothing. You just have the extra head so that they can pose like pretty boys. But then again, who could complain? It's good figures, solid figures, and at least you can pose them better because they don't have those metal legs. So for next week, we're gonna be doing the initial ones. I'm just a bit scared if I take it out, but then again, why wouldn't I take it out, right? So YOLO. We might have something bonus for that, but for now, this actually adds up to the Netflix series, to the net. So we have, we already had Yuta from Jujutsu Kaisen Zero. We had Momo of Dan Dan Dan. By the way, I've already pre-ordered Seiko, Momo's grandmother. So we're gonna be continuing that. For Yuta, I've also and then we had Sunraku, and we already had Sunraku, and now we've got Wild Tiger and Barnaby Brooks for our Netflix series. So that's your two for the twofer. But thank you very much for watching. And guys, again, if you want something that will pose, get this, not the metal ones. Though the metal ones are actually pretty hard to find now, maybe get it to collect. But I really strongly suggest don't get it to pose. Get this instead. Get this instead. They might look a bit different, but at least it's not gonna break on you. Right? So thank you very much. Have a great week.